How's it going, everybody? And we will continue in Acts, and we will stay with the watered down, sometimes skips a Bible verse. We caught that the other day. Bible verses that are skipped in other translations. Where is that? Yeah, there they are. So let's see how many are missing in the book of Acts. Was that the only one that we caught the other day? It was around 36 or 37. There it was. It's 37. So was there any more in Acts that we missed? No, that's good. How many more are missed? Okay, 1534. I might have to write that down, huh? Not that this area here doesn't become extremely cluttered, but 1534 is skipped. 24, 6 through 8. What? All of that is skipped? Okay. Well, today's study won't be skipped. 28, 29. That's chapter 28, verse 29. This pen decided maybe it wants to quit writing. And it's interesting though, right? And then Romans 16, 24. So we are done. There's three verses in Acts we need to sort of be on the lookout for. Got it. Do my best. We were fortunate. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for catching that the other day. Because it would be very easy not to catch it because I don't sit there and look at verses like that. The men with Saul, who later will become Paul, this is his conversion. That's why he calls himself an apostle, because he actually communed with Jesus. With us today, it's just he corrects us through our gut, our conscience, feeling guilty. So we turn. Anyway, the men with Saul stood speechless as they heard the sound of someone's voice, but saw no one. So they didn't see Jesus. Saul picked himself up off the ground, and when he had opened his eyes, he was blind. So his companions led him by the hand to Damascus. He remained there blind for 3 days and did not eat or drink. Now, there was a believer. By the way, if you don't even drink water after 3 days, they say you can die. How long can you go without food and water before you die? As long as someone can survive without food and water, because many factors can affect survival, including sickness, complications, fluid intake. Well, some say that without food and water, a maximum of a 1 week. Yeah, I had researched 3 days when I researched it last time. So as a result, discounted most people a period without food. Usually that's food, 10 days. Anyway. And this is 3 weeks without food and water per hospice. Okay. So anyway, now there was a believer in Damascus named Ananias. The Lord spoke to him in a vision, calling Ananias. Again, that doesn't happen to us anymore because we're not living in the Bible in real time. Once Trump gets the deadly wound, all bets are off. Anyway, yes, Lord, he replied. The Lord said, go over to the straight street to the house of Judas, when you get there, ask for a man from Tarsus named Saul. He is praying to me right now. I have shown him a vision of a man named Ananias coming in and laying hands on him so he could see again. But Lord, exclaimed Ananias, I've heard many people talk about terrible things about this man and what he's done to believers in Jerusalem. And he is authorized by the leading priest to arrest everyone who calls upon your name. The Lord said, go, for Saul is my chosen instrument to take my message to the Gentiles and to kings. as well as to people of Israel. I will show him how much he must suffer for my namesake. And that kind of goes back to what a terrible thing it is to fall in the hands of a great and dreadful God. I have butchered that, but it's Hebrews 10:31. We know in the Old Testament they refer to him affectionately as the great and dreadful God. It is a fearful thing to fall in the hands of the living God. O God, great and dreadful. O Lord, the great and dreadful God, in the phrase of the Bible, Daniel 4. The full verse reads, and I prayed unto Jehovah my God, and made confessions and said, O Lord, the great and dreadful God. I didn't want you to think I just made that up or was blaspheming him. That is said with reverence and affection, because we all, through much tribulation, enter the kingdom. And that's for sheep. And if you're not a sheep, well, you're going to face judgment. So it's going to be dreadful either way. We know in Hebrews 12:6-8, it talks about the Lord locking down his sheep and beating them, the chastening and scourging. So he's dreadful whether you're a sheep or a goat. Okay. All the apostles ended up murdered. When God came in the flesh, he was murdered. So what the sovereign God has ordained for sheep and goats, it's tough either way. Remember, for goats, it is not eternal torment. They're judged, hit by the flame at Revelation 29, and they're never alive again. That's their second death. Their dead bodies are then judged later on in Revelation 20, and their dead bodies are thrown into the lake of fire, but they never say a peep. The weeping and gnashing of teeth takes place before the flame comes down. It says, therefore, thou shalt be weeping and gnashing of teeth when you see Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob staying in the kingdom. And that's talking about the millennial kingdom, which took place right before judgment. So anyway, long story. If you've been here long enough, then you know, right? Here's Daniel 9:4. And I prayed unto my Lord and made my confession and said, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping the covenant and mercy to them that love him and to them that keep his commandments. So anyway, okay, that was the same one we'd read earlier. So you see how I fused the two together. My fault. When I did the search, I didn't really know how to say it, so I just kind of said a little bit everything. All right. So he must suffer for my namesake. So he is suffering. And remember Paul, this is Saul, later he's Paul. Let me check volume. Need to turn up a little bit, don't I? Yep. Much better. Sorry about that. So Saul, let me see. Lost my train of thought, didn't I? What was the last thing they said there? Maybe that'll wake me up. Let's just do it in the King James. For I will show him many things, for he must suffer for my namesake. Oh, Paul, who was this Saul, remember he prayed to have the thorn removed from his side, and the Lord would not do it. And he asked him to do it like, I think he said 3 or 4 times. That's why people that say, you know, it says right here, your prayers will be answered if you do this or do that. Prayer is bowing to the will of the Lord. When Jesus said how to pray, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. And when Jesus prayed to have that cup removed from him, he ended with, "Not my will, Father, but your will be done." So this, see, there's certain Bible verses that trump other Bible verses because much of the word is written in, oh, excuse me, figurative language, abstract language. Jesus spoke in parables. Jesus is the word. The word is one big parable. It's not black and white. It's not plain and simple. Or else John 3:16 would mean God loves everybody ever born, which we know that's not true at all. John 3:16 actually says in the Greek, "For God so loved cosmos." He loved his appropriate, harmonious arrangement, order, government, constitution. He loved his adornment. He loved the apple of his eye. He doesn't love everybody. Jesus said, "The world hated me before it hated you, but I've chosen you out of the world. Therefore, the world hateth you." He didn't come for the whole world. Jesus said, "Only came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel." I'm glad you're here. There's a lot of tricksters. You can't walk into a building and get the truth. Not one church building can you walk in and get the truth. Not one. And in all matters of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired of them, this is Daniel and his Hananiah, Mishael, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, I think it is. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I think that's their Hebrew names. I think so. Anyway, I'm guessing. And Daniel continued even into the first year of King Cyrus. End of that little history lesson about Daniel there in verse 21. Now we will continue back with Nebuchadnezzar. And this is going to get into the end times. This is one of the greatest, most important Bible passages. It'll be Daniel 21 through, it'll be Daniel 2:41 through 43. And when it speaks of the iron and clay, the iron is the technology, the clay are the humans, the ghost is in the machine. Trump signed 5G and beyond. G500 is Antichrist. G500, G5, 5G. Antichrist again is G500 in Strong's Concordance. Trump signed 5G and beyond. It is through the technology that when people worship the image of the beast, remember Satan is the prince of the power of the air. This technology, you could take a picture here, post it on your Facebook, and somebody can see it in China within seconds. Okay. The fallen angels are no longer just in crystal balls or Ouija boards. They are in the technology. That is what the AI is. That's why the Police did an album in 1981 titled Ghost in the Machine. And the computer's been around longer than they've told you. And AI has been around ever since the computer was made. It was made for them, for the entities. And that's why technology has increased rapidly, because they've been slow rolling it for God's exact time when all of the end times would take place. But the iron mixing with clay, it says, "They shall mingle themselves with the seed of man." That's because it's total human body possession. When they worship the image of the beast, they will be entered. They will then become extremely powerful. We remember the story of the man who had devils and demons in him, and chains could not bind him. And so humans will suddenly have the strength of 10 or more, and they will have the sheep greatly outnumbered. That's why the Great Tribulation is only 3.5 days, like it says in Revelation 11. It's supposed to be 3.5 years, but Jesus said he cuts those days short so that sheep flesh would still be on the earth. In the second year of reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams. And we just got through reading how Daniel, I think it was yesterday's study, the day before, he had power in understanding dreams. Wherewith his spirit was troubled, Mr. Nebuchadnezzar, and he was unable to sleep. It says, and his sleep brake from him. Then the king commanded to call the magicians, astrologers, the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. The king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Syriac, O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will show you the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me. If you will not make known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof, you shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. But if you shall show me the dream and the interpretation thereof, you shall receive of me gifts and rewards and great honor. Therefore, show me the dream and the interpretation thereof. I'm glad you're here. I love you very much. Ask questions anytime. That's what I'm here for.